You're going to hear stories of what some of these folks have experienced and to tell how threatening the workers are, the environment that they're going through. And so, look, at the end of the day, there's been a lot of conversation about CenterPoint itself. Fine. However, there is a time and place for that. My priority for my constituents and for all constituents of Houston, Harris County, is getting your power restored. The threats, the attacks, the vandalism of CenterPoint property and the trucks of the linemen, Chief Satterwhite will speak to some of that. All that does is make it harder and longer to get your lights back on. So I just want to first say that I am grateful for the work of these linemen. Many of them are not Harris County residents or even Texas citizens. They're from other parts of the country, and we're grateful and thankful that they're here working on our behalf to help us find that normal once again. So let me first ask Business Manager of Local 66, IBEW, Ed Allen, to share some remarks. Ed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my name is Ed Allen, the Business Manager of IBEW Local 66, and we represent more than 4,800 utility workers in Texas, all across Texas. We specifically represent all the folks that work at CenterPoint, all the contractors that work on their property every day. And I expect and want CenterPoint to be held accountable in the proper time and the proper place. Right now, we need to get the lights back on. We're down to less than 400,000 left to get back on, and we need all these folks here. We've had guys have guns pulled on them. We've had guys had rocks picked up and slung at them. We've had people brandishing AK-47s at them, and it needs to stop. I've had several companies already tell me, Ed, if it doesn't stop, we're going to get in our trucks and drive off. I had a crew out in Sugar Land, D&T Power, we're working out in Sugar Land. They had guys have AK-47s standing across the street from them, never pointed it at them, but menacing them. We have people constantly harassing these folks, and in 42 years in this industry, working here in this community, I have never seen a response like this from the community. And I want to be clear, the vast majority of people are handling this with grace and dignity and patience, and I'm grateful for that. But there is a small minority of folks that want to go out there and cause harm and want to disrupt. When CenterPoint has to shut down a staging site and move from Barnett Stadium all the way out to Berry Center on Barker Cypress, that is a huge loss of workforce in that area. They have to shut the restoration effort down to do that. That doesn't help. That's not helpful. Nothing is more important to me than the safety and health and welfare of the workers that I represent. And make it clear, I don't care if they're in the union or not. We've got plenty of great non-union folks down here helping us as well. And I feel responsible for them too, even though I'm not. I feel it. And I want them to stay and help us too. Please, God, stop harassing these people. I mean, they can't even eat lunch, okay? One crew from Kansas, working in Kingwood, went and got hamburgers for their crew, and they were sitting down eating. People pull up, start screaming at them, calling them lazy, telling them they don't deserve to eat. This work is dangerous. It takes time to get people from out of our territory to come in, to get them up to speed. They have to go through a safety briefing. And when you bring 12, 14,000 people into our territory to work, it's like herding cats. And it takes time to wrap your arms around it and get it mobilized. And that happens in everybody's jurisdiction. I've been all over the country myself working service restaurant. I worked in the field for 36 years. I know what it's like to do this work. Please, God, let these people do their work. The men and women that are out there doing this work today in this oppressive heat, they're working 16 hours a day. They have to be at their trucks at 6 o'clock in the morning. They do not get off till 10 o'clock at night. They left their homes. The folks that live here in the community that are working, their homes are damaged too. Their wives and kids are sitting at home without any power, with their roofs damaged. It's raining every day. Come on, let's give them the space they need to do that. I just want everybody to calm down. I realize the environment today is not good, but listen, it took us almost 20 days to restore the power to the community during Ike. We're 7 days in. This is the 7th day, okay? And we're down to less than 400,000. The restoration effort, as far as the work in the field goes, is actually going really well, okay? That's the one thing I'm an expert on. I can tell you that it's actually going really well. If the company didn't prepare well, address that at another time, okay? I want to thank Commissioner Garcia for doing this, shining a spotlight on this. I am humbled beyond belief to have all these fine folks behind me. I really am. To have the support of the law enforcement community for the people that I care about means an awful lot to me. And I'm humbled to have all y'all standing behind me. Thank you so much for what you're doing to protect the men and women that I represent every day. Commissioner, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Ed. And you can hear his passion. You can hear his concern for union members and non-union members, people working on behalf of every one of us. At this time, I'd like to ask HPD Chief Larry Satterwhite to share some remarks. Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for having this and another opportunity to reach out to the public. Simply put, we just are so much better than this. And I know most of the public understands what we're going through, and they understand that those linemen that are coming in, whether they're local or they're coming in from out of state, they're just here to try to help. But we do, like Mr. Allen said, and the Commissioner said, is that we do have some that are out there that are just not being good citizens for us right now. They are out there and they are threatening these linemen. And I will tell you that is devastating. It's devastating first and foremost because you're threatening men and women that are out there just trying to make a difference in our community. And they did come a lot of times from outside. And they are a lot of times coming from areas that are not like Houston, not as big as Houston. And so they're coming in, and we want to be that city that is like we've always been, that strong, grateful city, the kind of city that we're all proud of. And we want to make sure that they know that, and they go away with that thought and that image of Houston as being a strong committee, a strong city that is welcoming and just what we've always aspired to be here. So this is unfortunate. So the Houston Police Department has been actively working with these crews, actively working with Centerpoint to make sure that they are safe. We are co-located in terms of some of their representatives and daily and hourly getting updates from them, and we stand ready. So we tell them, you have a need, you have a crew that feels threatened, tell us, we'll be there. We're escorting crews, we're watching over sites. It's devastating when we lose some of these crews that become too concerned for their own safety, and then they pull off, because that's going to further exacerbate the problem that we already have right now. I think Mr. Allen mentioned Barnett Stadium. I got that call. Chief Mike Lee gave me a call and said, hey, they've got a problem. You're about to lose that whole crew over there and their whole setup, because they were being threatened. Of course, we got on, and I sent Lieutenant over there, and even Chief Garner, out of because it was at Barnett Stadium, HISD was also helping in security. And we were sending resources and everything else, but they elected to move their operation from Barnett Stadium, which was very close to the work being done, all the way out to Barker Cypress because they felt threatened. Well, that slows down everything, and that meant more people were going to be without power even longer because of the distance that they're going to have to travel just to get back and do that kind of work. We are still working with them, but I just want to tell you that for every time someone does this, it slows things down and it hurts us, and this is not who we are. I'll also say, when you do take matters in your own hand and do things like this, we will hold you accountable. Yesterday at 1900 Wilcrest, we had a male, 38 years of age, go to one of the lineman crews and point a firearm and threaten one of the crew members there. we found him, we arrested him, and his information is out on our social media, because we will do that. Like the burglars that are out trying to take advantage in power outage, or anybody else trying to take advantage of anybody else, and during this disaster, we will find you, we will make arrests, we will charge you, and I want to also make sure that everybody knows, just again, if you don't, we're in a disaster declaration. That means enhanced penalties for those same charges. So it is a very serious thing to do, and again, I will just say, this is not who we are, and I appreciate everybody, because overwhelmingly the public is coming out in support. We just need you to help us spread the message to those that are not really understanding that, hey, right now it's about getting the power back on. That's the most important thing. That's how we best take care of our public. So with that, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, I'll have Chief Mike Lee, on behalf of Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, speak on behalf of the support that this issue has from the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Chief Lee.
Thanks, Commissioner. And thank you, Ed, for the work your people are doing out there. We know he described it best. I mean, 12, 16-hour days they're out there in this heat doing their best, and to have people out there harassing them, threatening them, is just totally unacceptable. I also want to say that the men and women up here in these uniforms, our homes are damaged. I have no power. A lot of these officers have no power, but they're coming in, they're doing their duty every day. I don't want to go any further first, without saying, let's keep Deputy Escada and the Escada family in our prayers. We lost him the first night of this storm when he was ambushed. And so not only were our officers and deputies dealing with trying to protect these neighborhoods on long shifts, we also were out there hunting 2 cop killers. And to watch these men and women in action has just been probably one of the most inspirational points of my 34-year career. So, back to the issue of what's been happening, Chief Satterwhite pretty much summed it all up. The very first day or two, we had a large staging area in the city, and we received the phone call that, look, the residents are coming over here threatening our crews, and it was a large staging area. And so they didn't feel safe. We had HPD go over there. They tried their best to keep them in that area so those residents could get their power restored in a timely manner. And at the end of the day, they packed up all their supplies, their equipment, and we had to move them to a safer location. That slows down progress. But look, he also said, we're better than that. As a native Houstonian, I think, we probably didn't want the label, but, we all know that Houston strong is something we're known for being, because we're a very resilient city. If you grew up here, and heck, just the last 15 years alone, the we've come through, we're better than this. And also the chief made a great point about, look, the vast majority of the citizens, they're doing the right thing. We're all tired, we're frustrated, but, they're accepting it. They know people are out there trying to do the right thing. It's the bad actors. And, you always see on the news, our jail's in the news all the time. It's overcapacity. We're outsourcing inmates to Louisiana and Mississippi. Trust me, there is more space in that jail. We have increased our population by over 300 inmates just this week because of people out there, doing wrong things. And we, HPD brought in officers from around the state to help them. We've had all of our deputies out there on extended shifts, and if we catch you doing wrong, we're going to put you in jail. And if it's related to storm activity, we're going to ask the DA to enhance the charge on you, and they have been. So I just, want to thank, truly, Ed, your guys, it's an honor for us to get out there and protect your people that are doing the work. Let's just stay strong. We have to keep reminding people out there in neighborhoods. I just came from an event in Channelview this morning, there's still long, it's almost kind of surreal as you go around Houston in the county. It's a big county. There's parts of the county and the city that almost look like normal life. People at Papacitos, having dinner, having a good time. But you go to sections of this county where people are hurting. They still don't have no power. They have no lights. Some people are on well water. They have no water in their house because their wells don't work. So we're having to distribute water and food and have food drives and take care of our citizens. And so, take care. This is an opportunity for people to step up. And, there's a lot of neighborhoods where, you have that one or two homes that have that Generac, okay? When you got elderly neighbors and they're hurting, or you got people that are neighbors that have medical conditions, be a neighbor. Offer them some AC. It's a time to reach out and help each other and get to know your neighbors instead of, getting frustrated and doing the wrong thing. So just thank you for, Commissioner, for holding this. This is a great opportunity to get this message out to the public.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief Lee, and thank you for reminding us that Houston-Harris County has suffered its own losses, and so we continue to keep those families in our thoughts and prayers as well. Now we will have Constable Sylvia Trevino, who has been touched by the most recent tragedy involving Deputy Escala. Deputy Escala was previously with the constable's office before joining the sheriff's office, and was also attached to the Violent Persons Task Force that Constable Trevino helps to lead in Harris County. So, Constable Trevino.
Thank you. So first of all, yes, I want to thank Commissioner Garcia for bringing us all together here today and bringing attention to these outrageous threats that are being made against Centerpoint and their linemen, their employees that are out there working day in and day out to restore power to over 2 million residents and businesses. I too believe that it's just a few handful of people that are doing this, because the majority, I believe, are like us, that we're very grateful for the service that Centerpoint is doing and all these linemen out there working day in and day out. Thank you for talking about Deputy Esqueda, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, our heart and prayers go out to the family of Deputy Esqueda, and I don't know if any of you knew he was scheduled to be married in September. And as a matter of fact, his fiance was also a dispatcher with us, and she had gone to school to get her criminal justice degree, and I knew we were going to be losing her to a law enforcement agency, and she said she was going to go to a police academy, and so she went to another department, a larger department, and she's also, if I'm not mistaken, a police officer there. But regarding our linemen, threatening our linemen is not going to get your power on any faster. As a matter of fact, it will only prolong matters, and I think that we already touched on that, because no one, absolutely no one, should be working under threatening conditions. While our department, Precinct 6, has not received any calls for service of threats to linemen trying to restore power to our community, as your constable, and I believe law enforcement agencies that behind me here, I will do my part as a proactive approach to assign patrol deputies to wherever these linemen are working to restore power to our communities. An attack on our linemen is an attack on our community, especially under these crisis and disaster times. It is a criminal offense, and we will take action. But I did want to touch also just a little bit, just reading in social media, I see where a young lady said that just yesterday she posted, it got so hot she had to go pick up her mother and bring her home. Yes, to her house. Yes, that's what we have to do. We have to look after our neighbors. We have to look after our elderly. And if it takes going over there to pick them up and bringing them to your house, yes, you have to do that. Summers are getting hotter. Winters are getting colder. This is not the first time it's not the last time we're gonna lose power probably. So let's do what we have to do. Let's do our part in looking after our neighbors and lending a helping hand. If you have an elderly neighbor who you need to find out who their next of kin is so that we're not scrambling at the last minute to find out who can help them. So let's reach out, give a helping hand, and you know, kindness empowers you. So let's be kind and do what we have to do. Public safety is our #1 priority as law enforcement, and we will not tolerate these threats to our linemen. They're out there doing an awesome job, and we appreciate them very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Constable. We will now hear from the Executive Director of the AFL-CIO, of which IBAW is a part of. And just to accentuate the point, the work that is being done on your behalf is dangerous. Working with those high voltage power lines is absolutely dangerous. You just can't get up there and duct tape it and baling wire those fixes. It requires skilled labor to do this, and so I want to have Executive Director Hani Khalil share a few words on behalf of the AFL-CIO and all the organized labor that's involved in this restoration effort. Please.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Garcia, for bringing us together. I want to express our appreciation to law enforcement for being out here in support of our electricians that are out there in the field trying to get power on across the community as quickly as possible. Look, the labor movement stands for solidarity, and I saw solidarity when we lost power at our home, like so many millions of families and businesses across this region. The most beautiful sight I'd seen in a long time on Friday morning was when 3 utility trucks pulled up in front of our house. And I went over and I just said, my God, thank you for being here. And they told me we drove down, we're happy to be here. We drove down 13 hours on Monday night through the remnants of the hurricane to get down here and get to work on Tuesday. There are that kind of utility workers and linemen and women all across the county that are here supporting us, providing solidarity to our community. And the way we need to respond to them is with Texas hospitality, not with our hostility, right? It's hospitality that we should be showing them, not hostility. And so I just want to say, let's recognize that, as Commissioner Garcia said, the work that these linemen and women are doing is extremely dangerous as it is. They do not need the addition of harassment and violence to those already dangerous conditions. Every worker, no matter what industry we work in, as a teacher, I'm a member of the Houston Federation of Teachers, the students we teach, law enforcement, construction workers, no one deserves to work afraid that they may not be able to go home at night, either because it's unsafe in hazardous conditions or because they're worried about being killed by a bullet. It's crazy. That is not Houston. We can and must do better to support these linemen and women working their hardest to get power on. If you want to be mad at someone, be mad at Centerpoint management. There's a conversation to have about that. But don't point down. Don't attack the linemen and women that are working so hard, leaving their families, often not having power at home, to get power to all of us. Thank you.
Good deal. Thank you, Hani. And Hani touched on it. There's a lot of work being done right now, and all of us have inferred some degree of patience that we're asking people to be strong with. I get it. It's hot. It's miserable. It's muggy. It's hard to be patient. But just know that we're not asking you to be patient in a vacuum. Every commissioner in Harris County is concerned about you. Commissioner Rodney Ellis, Commissioner Leslie Briones, Commissioner Tom Ramsey. We're all doing, in my office, we're all doing food, ice, water distributions to try to help people get through this difficult time. We're trying to fill that aspect of patience by doing our own part to provide you some degree of comfort and runway on that theme of patience. And so we're all in it together. When people say thank you for what I'm doing, my response is hashtag we're in it together, because we are, and we do not lose sight of that. And so I also want to make point of the fact that those distributions don't just happen with my employees. And trust me, we're working our employees feverishly. But we also have a host of Houston and Harris County residents that are volunteering. Many of them, as it was pointed out, with their own lights out. So folks, let's latch on to that positive attitude that Houston, Harris County is so well known for. Let's share it, let's embrace it, but absolutely let's support and respect our linemen and give them the space to do their job so that we can all be normal once again. And so to the volunteers that are out there, I want to thank you for all that you're doing. And now I want to share a few brief remarks in Spanish. Adrián García, comisionado del Precinto 2, aquí con el jefe de policía, Larry Satterwhite, el jefe del Departamento de Alguacil, Mike Lee, representando al alguacil Ed González. Tenemos la Constable Sylvia Treviño del Precinto 6 y tenemos representantes de las oficinas de Constables de Precinto 3, Sherman Eagleton, y de la oficina del Precinto 5 del Constable Ted Heap. Pero todos los oficiales estamos aquí porque el mensaje hoy es que estamos escuchando que los trabajadores de las líneas que están reparando el sistema de electricidad están recibiendo sumamente amenazas, han llegado a ser víctimas de violencia, y eso no se puede permitir ni lo vamos a tolerar. Entonces, esos oficiales están aquí para llevar a cabo el mensaje, que sabemos que está caliente, sabemos que está muy húmedo, sabemos que es muy inconveniente, pero les suplicamos su paciencia y les suplicamos a darle la bienvenida a estos trabajadores. Muchos vienen de otras partes de los Estados Unidos, ni son residentes del estado de Texas, mucho más menos del condado de Harris o la ciudad de Houston. Pero están aquí haciendo un trabajo peligroso, difícil, y no necesitan ser amenazados porque eso solamente nos llega a tardar el trabajo para restaurar la electricidad en cada hogar alrededor de la ciudad de Houston. Entonces, por favor, les suplicamos su paciencia. Pero también para hacerles saber que no estamos solamente diciéndoles, por favor, lleguen a ser pacientes. El Precinto 2, junto con los otros comisionados, la comisionada Leslie Briones, el Precinto 1, el Precinto 4, todos estamos trabajando duro para llegar a repartir comida, agua, hielo, para hacer todo posible para darles más apoyo mientras que le estamos suplicando la paciencia. Entonces, estamos en esto juntos, entonces les queremos suplicar, por favor, lleguen a respetar a esos trabajadores de electricidad, muchos que son miembros del sindicato IBEW, y muchos solamente quieren hacer lo que le estamos suplicando, restaurar la electricidad. Entonces, por favor, no llegan a ser parte de esas amenazas que estamos escuchando. El jefe de policía, el jefe Satterwhite y el jefe Lee han indicado que han habido varios incidentes y, sin embargo, cuando los trabajadores estaban en el estadio de Butler, tuvieron que recolocarse a otro lugar mucho más lejos de la área que necesitaba el trabajo más. Entonces, eso es porque estaban llegando a recibir amenazas y tuvieron el riesgo de violencia. Entonces, cuando eso está sucediendo, eso solamente llega a tardar el trabajo que necesitamos más en estos momentos difíciles. Si están enojados, lo entiendo, lo comprendo, pero por favor, enójanse con la empresa de CenterPoint. Los trabajadores solamente están aquí como policías, como bomberos, para ayudar y para apoyarnos. No se llegan a enojar con ellos. Ellos no tienen nada que hacer con Centerpoint, pero solamente están aquí para hacer un trabajo muy, muy importante. Y quiero terminar con que no solamente el trabajo de apoyar al público se está llevando a cabo por los empleados de las oficinas, de los varios comisionados, pero también estamos teniendo mucho apoyo por diferentes voluntarios de diferentes grupos, y les quiero decir a esos voluntarios, gracias, gracias por ese apoyo. Esa es la imagen del condado Harris, esa es la imagen de la ciudad de Houston. Entonces, por favor, seguimos uniéndonos y trabajando juntos. Y también se me pasó, pero quería también indicar que este mensaje de la violencia que estamos viendo es igual a lo que vimos ayer en el ataque al expresidente Trump. Esa violencia a cualquier persona no es aceptable, no se va a tolerar, ni a imágenes políticos o a trabajadores de electricidad. No lo vamos a aceptar, no lo vamos a tolerar, y por eso tenemos estos oficiales aquí, para llevar a cabo el mensaje que si llegan a atacar, a amenazar un trabajador de electricidad, van a ser arrestados. Y el jefe Sarah White ha indicado que como ahorita estamos bajo una declaración de desastre, de emergencia, que los arrestos van a tener una sentencia mucho más fuerte que si esto llegara a pasar en cualquier otro tiempo. Así que, por favor, vamos a trabajar juntos, vamos a seguir siendo el condado de Harris que siempre hemos sido. Gracias. Thank you. Any questions for any one of the speakers?
Chief Satterwhite, can you talk about either an exact or an estimated number of reports of threats or any physical acts of violence towards Centerpoint workers and contractors there have been?
Yeah, so I don't have that number, and I apologize because I should have that number for you right here today, but I don't, and I can get that back to you. We have had reports of the threats. I described, the situation, and it was actually the threat, as I understand it, actually happened off of Wayside with a crew working out there, and then of course back at Barnett Stadium for that particular incident that we lost that entire operation to West Houston. And then, of course, yesterday, the very public, that we've made the arrest for the individual that actually took a firearm and threatened to harm one of the line workers right there on Willcrest. Can I get back to you on the other numbers, please? Because I will try to have more on the specific data. I've got somebody here that can help run that down and get that to you.
Do you know do you have any number of instances that you've asked the DA's office for charges on cases?
Yeah, so the one I described yesterday, yes, but I want to be accurate, and I don't have the total number, and shame on me for that, but I'll get that for you.
How are you guys collaborating with the hospitals regarding heat strokes and stuff like that? Are the agencies working with hospitals out there?
So yes, actually, we all of us are working with the hospitals, absolutely, because obviously that is our lifeline to life safety, right? Life safety is our number one. So we want to make sure that we're getting people, whether it's HFD who are working very hard, and they're using some collaboration from outside agencies too, like we are with our outside agencies that are here, and the whole goal is to make sure everybody's safe. The heat is dangerous. We have lost people to the heat, okay? And, we have a lot of people who are already very, they're vulnerable already, and this kind of prolonged heat is dangerous to their health. And so we've actually lost people. So we're doing everything we can. We asked the public to call. I think it was mentioned earlier by Constable Trevino to, for family members to obviously reach out. We are still trying to locate any nursing homes, any kind of special care facility. We need to know so we can go there and assess. The police department will do it. The fire department will do it. All these agencies behind me will do it. The commissioner's office. We are all in this to make sure that those people who are most at risk and vulnerable are taken care of, and so that their safety is our priority. So yes, so that collaboration, what we do very well amongst us all here in Houston and of course our surrounding region agencies is collaborate. We have to, we're short. We're all short. But you know what, together we get a lot done, and that's what I am very grateful for and proud of, and that's what we'll continue to do.
We heard Ed talk about, you know, in the past, you know, he's never seen a reaction from the community like this towards line workers. I mean, this could be a question maybe for anyone. What makes this so, why do you think people are so much more desperate this
Well,
time?
part of it is you have outage fatigue. You went through the derecho a month or two ago, and that outage had almost 1 million people off, and that just antagonizes it. The other thing is, you look at the difference between Ike and Beryl. Ike was later in the year, probably wasn't as hot as it is now, and that makes it worse. And the other thing, and don't take offense to this, between social media and the media, some of them in the media, not maybe y'all, spinning this thing up and out of control, it amps people up and gets them revved up. You know, all the stuff you've seen on social media about negotiations holding up, working on, that is all nonsense. None of that's true. None of it's true. Okay? There's no negotiations in mutual assistance. None of these companies do that. Okay? And that's got people amped up. But I'm telling you, I was a lineman for a long time, and I've never seen anything like this. And again, I understand most people are handling it with dignity and grace, but there's a small vocal minority of people that are subjecting not only my members, but all these fine folks that came to help us, subjecting them to violence. And look, the work is dangerous enough. On average, we lose one of our members every year to a workplace fatality, okay? So if I told you you had a 1 in 4,800 chance of dying at work every year, would you take that job? It'd be pretty good numbers to get for the lottery, but it ain't worth a damn to get those to go to work every day, okay? So again, you know, paramount that we keep these folks safe. It's my main goal. I'm, again, humbled to have all these great folks with me up here. Again, to Commissioner Garcia and his entire staff for doing this, but keep the focus on getting the lights on. We'll address CenterPoint Energy after the fact, and I can promise you this, there is not any organization anywhere that holds CenterPoint Energy more accountable than Local 66. Right. We do it on a daily basis. We work with them on a daily basis. We collaborate with them and work with them when we can, and we oppose them and fight them when we have to, okay? So give this chance to get the lights back on, then hold them accountable, and they'll have to answer for that, and that's their job to do that. I'm not going to stand up here and carry water for them, okay? But I'm going to tell you, there are good folks over there, and they do good work. And not just the bargaining unit folks, there are good folks on the management side too. Give them a chance to answer these questions and let them be held accountable for it. Okay?
Good deal. Yep. And I also wanted, Ed has just touched on a very important point. The derecho came not even during the hurricane season. We're early into the season. I think that adds to the anxiety that a lot of people are experiencing. And so I do want to take this time to ask our media partners to please remind folks about 988. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxiety about what you're going through, if your lights are out and you're having thoughts that aren't common for you, please use 988 and help us work with you to de-escalate the sense of anxiety that someone may be going through. We're all in this together, and so we recognize the anxiety that that everyone is experiencing. And then also want to point out that my staff can share with you one of the videos that we have just received regarding an attack on a lineman. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It cannot be explained. We're not going to try to explain it, but what we can say is we're not going to tolerate it. We're in it together. These folks are just here trying to help. Let them do their work and help us, and tomorrow will be a better day.
Is there an avenue for CenterPoint workers if they're on a job and they want extra security? They feel unsafe, but they want to keep
Sure. Yeah, CenterPoint Energy has security folks on their staff. There is an emergency button on their radios they can push. Most of them all have phones, obviously, and they call 911. In 36 years working in Houston, I was born and raised here. I had to call the police twice. HPD came out and helped me one time over off of 610 next to the old YMCA over there, and Harris County Sheriffs came out on an access call where the lady got ugly with me, and I just backed off, and they had to get her to let me in her backyard. And that's the only 2 times I've ever had any issues working in the community for as long as I did. The folks in Houston are great. Just, you know, a lot of this I call it the social media effect. Social media, I believe, is the ruination of our country, quite frankly. Everything, I'm not kidding you, everything I saw on social media was a lie. There was one guy on there posting that he was a lineman at CenterPoint. He got fired because he tried to go to work and they wouldn't let him. I could tell by the way he typed the message he wasn't a lineman, okay? That was a lie. So all that stuff is nonsense, and it just amps people up, you know, it really does.
Talk about the credentials and getting access to backyards. And things.
Yeah, so every CenterPoint employee will have a badge, okay? And they're all taught, I was taught, you go up, knock on the door first, you announce your presence before you go anybody's backyard, you let them know you're there. If they refuse to let you in, you don't confront them about that, you back off to your truck, and CenterPoint employees will be in a truck that has their logo on the side of it. Now, we got all these foreign crews in town, but they should back off. They should call, I called law enforcement. A very nice sheriff came out and tuned the lady up and got her to let me in her backyard. But they should all, no, I wouldn't let anybody in my backyard that you had any questions about. If you don't see the utility truck and you don't see the credentials that they should have, you shouldn't be letting anybody in your backyard either. I wouldn't let them in if I didn't know who they were, you know.
Good deal.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Commissioner, one more question.
Yes, sir.
Can you please explain about anybody with immigration status when they call 811, 911? Can you say it in Spanish so they feel comfortable calling without any exceptions?
Claro. La pregunta es que si personas con cuestión a través de su estado inmigratorio, es de que si llaman al 988 si están bajo algún estrés, esa es la línea para la salud mental nacionalmente, o cuando llaman a la policía para pedir ayuda, o si cuando llaman al 211, que es la línea para servicios sociales. En ninguna parte su estado inmigratorio es importante. Solamente todas esas líneas están para ayudar a cualquier persona, no importa su estado inmigratorio. You're welcome.
Quick question for Chief Deputy Lee. I don't suppose you brought any stats.
We have had one confirmed break-in of a CenterPoint vehicle. We've had about 3 confirmed incidents of, what was the other?
Citizens not allowing linemen.
Yeah, not allowing the linemen, like Ed was describing. You know, that probably was about the confusion of outside agencies. And they just need to follow the instructions like he pointed out. We've had 3 of those calls, and then we've had a few calls about traffic direction, where they need assistance because their equipment is, I know I've gone through some areas where, you know, people are frustrated because the crews are lined up, traffic's coming one direction, they're not stopping to let anyone else through, so we're getting some of those traffic calls. But that's about it so far.
Good deal. I will wrap things up just by saying this. To the folks who are most frustrated with CenterPoint, I appreciate the governor being in town and sharing a few remarks. Talk to the state. Our grid is a part of the ECOT. I don't refer to it as ERCOT because the reliability of our grid is obviously in question. And so it is the state who has sole responsibility over our grid. If you have concerns about CenterPoint, that is the place to make your concerns heard, is to speak to your statewide elected officials, beginning with the governor may be a good place. Thank you all very much. Oh. Para todas las personas que tienen mayor preocupación, duda, frustración con Centerpoint, entiendo que el gobernador de Texas estaba en Houston hoy y dio su comentario, pero la realidad es que el estado de Texas es dueño de Centerpoint y la sistema eléctrica de todo los Estados Unidos, de todo Texas, perdón, y que la sistema ERCOT, yo no digo ERCOT porque la R quiere decir de la reliabilidad de la sistema, y eso no existe, obviamente, por eso estamos todos enojados. Entonces, el mejor lugar para hacer tus quejas escuchadas es de comenzar con el estado de Texas, comenzando con el gobernador. Gracias. All right, thank you very much.